Warning, the following video has flashing lights and also includes content that may be deemed inappropriate for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Barb Hartman, Sonya Lynn-Mynatt, and JJ Messenger. Yes, we do have three brilliant minds sitting down with us tonight in the Fox Den for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy as we again dive in to the chaos known as the Dogman phenomenon. Yet, that was really delicious, and I do enjoy you allowing me time to replenish lost nutrients now that I am fully charged up and ready to rumble. Let's once again take a walk into the madness.
Stood up. I said, oh my god, it's a werewolf. And everybody in the car freaked out.
My creatures of the night. Yes, again, you are tuning in to Midnight Lycanthropy here on LordeStarfox Radio. And guess what? JJ Messenger, Sonya Lynn-Mynatt, and Barb Hartman. Yes, a trio of my good friends and hosts have already found their way into the darkness of the Fox Den, and they have set up the late night fire so kindly so that we can burn the timber into the early hours of the AM, again, with a Midnight Society. Sonya, how the heck have you been, my friend?
Hi, I'm well. It's good to see y'all again. I've missed a couple weeks with you guys, but I'm glad to be back. Everything's going well. We got a kind of a cold, icy night here in Tennessee. Hopefully it's just fake spring. We had fake spring last week, and it's cold and snowing again, so we're dealing with that. But it's been great.
Excellent. I'm glad you're back kicking with us. I mean, no need to ever apologize. Life happens. Things do occur, yet you always have your seat at the table here whenever you do want to hang out with us. Barb, what's up, my friend? What about you, eh? How's the good old eye doing?
It's healing up great. I can see better than ever before that I can remember. So it's excellent. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me. And hi, it's hi to JJ and hi to Sonya. It's great to, just to be sitting here and chatting with and sharing some reports with all my good friends. Good times.
Appreciate you. It is excellent to always get you to hang out with us. And we got our other Operation Camp Nightmare Fuel we're always working on. Beautiful stuff.
That will be coming out. I'm just about done. I have a little bit more, producing on that, of that video. So we'll get that ready for everybody very soon.
Beautiful stuff. JJ, my guy, how the heck are you doing, friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm excited to have spring come. Spring brings the activity to the forest, and I'm getting itchy here. It's been a long winter.
Yes, I can imagine that. It's starting to get a little bit warmer up here as well. I'm in the Northeast, as are you, though. So, hey, being in New England, you got to get used to being half frozen for the majority of the year, you know?
Yeah, we're over here complaining about the cold, and I was like, oh yeah, Kenny's up north.
Yeah.
So funny because I walked over to my neighbor's house the other day. She's right across the street. They're super cool, but they have this beautiful hound. I don't know her exact breed, but she's so awesome. So I always kick it with her. And whenever I'm cooking, I'll bring over some like chicken and gravy and such, or some rice because they feed her like the Rachel Ray diet. Long story short is I'm just out there with my Bruins little beanie hat on, no shirt on because I was cooking, and that's what we do when we're Neanderthals. And I just had my shorts on, barefoot, real quick. I mean, literally, it's like a friggin' 15 yards away. So she's like, "Oh my God, honey, aren't you like freezing?" And I'm like, "Well, not particularly. It's obviously not warm, but I, was born in New England. I did play a little bit of pickup hockey and stuff. Was, used to this. And I'm going to take an ice shower after. So this is just a little warm up." She's like, "What the heck?" So.
Yeah, we don't do much ice bathing around here.
It's good for you, but yeah, obviously it's not something that's the most enjoyable. But yeah, I try to do that. Obviously take a, warm shower for, to cleanse myself, and then put it on that ice cold and just sit there and take it. Because if I had some money, there's this beautiful portable like sauna that is an ice bath, and you can put the temperature all down, and oh man, I want one so bad.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool. Do you know, I live on the Puget Sound, and people actually take a dip every day because it's salt water and it doesn't go above 60 degrees. It typically is like 48 degrees. I am not one of those people. I don't know if I would ever do that. Maybe in the summertime, but no, not year round. Ugh.
Well, acclimation is important. That's why a lot of people in other countries do that ice bathing and the polar plunges.
Yes.
I mean, they do it every
Yes.
day. It helps your immune system. It actually, if you have wrinkles on your face, ice bath for your face. I know all these things, and I'm over here just wrinkling away.
I'm telling you, preach, though. You are correct on all of this stuff. To the audience, though, tonight, we have some really good stuff. I mean, we always have great stuff for you. Yet, what we're going to do after we hear what everyone's been up to is everyone is going to have a nice little encounter. They're going to read from their neck of the woods, and we are going to try and figure out some reasonable aspects about that. Yet first, JJ, what have you been up to? You been doing any sort of Dogman cryptid research lately, or you just been trying to figure things out?
Just been trying to figure things out. Looking forward to the warm air and looking forward to the forest being active again.
Excellent. Makes sense right there for sure. We look forward to hearing about the things you will be providing us. Miss Barb Hartman, what about you? We know that you've been dealing with some other stuff. Got your podcast and our other podcast you've been working on. Have you been diving into any sort of werewolf or shapeshifter or changeling type stuff lately?
No, I have not. I have, the stuff going on just with my eyes, whatever. And then just trying to keep track of my local clan. And I got some audio and some physical evidence from them, but I haven't, and I haven't even really heard anything that's going on. But that's not unusual because I feel like when these things do occur, it goes in like spurts. But just like JJ said, this is the perfect time. They start to get they start to get very active, and I feel like they all start to come to where a lot of the food sources are, and I know they live here year round, Sasquatch, but I know that some of them also travel out of the area. Now I think like everybody's coming back.
And the people have been not in the woods either, so that's a big thing. The people are coming back out to the woods, so they're able to be able to say there's sightings and there's this and there's that.
True.
Great, right there by everybody. And Sonya, what about you, amigo? Anything your way that you've been diving into, or you just been focusing on some other stuff?
I'm in a new place now. Well, not in a new place. I've been staying with my boyfriend who lives in Cookeville, which is about 2 hours from my house in Middle Tennessee. We're about like an hour and a half from Nashville, and like I've been sitting outside at his house at night, and I am almost positive they have dogmen out there. And if you like it at night, it's just there's certain sounds, like you can tell the difference. There's coyotes out there, and you can tell the difference. There's also some out there that howls, and it doesn't feel like Bigfoot to me. It feels like something else, because as soon as it howls, it shuts the neighbors' dogs up. Well, it usually makes the dogs bark, but it'll shut the coyotes up, and then the dogs will shut up for a minute, and then it'll just be pure silence. And it's so weird. And I have to think that it's Dogman. I've been creeping around Cookville thinking about Dogman.
Wow.
Sonya, what does it sound like when it's vocalizing? What is it? I mean, can you kind of describe it?
Well, it's a howl. It's definitely a howl, but it's not like a common coyote howl or a common like a common I'd say Sasquatch howl. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
It's hard to distinguish between hoops and hollers and howls.
Right. True. Yeah. True. I've heard people describe, and I think if I've heard one here, it's kind of like almost like when a hound dog will do that, like, what do they call it?
Yeah.
Baying? Is that the word? Like, and it's just like a single, yes. And then also, I've heard that they will have this, it'll be like a whistle at the end. Have any of you heard about, that?
Whistles, weirdly, whistles are not uncommon for cryptids, and I think that's another reason he says don't be whistling in the woods at night.
Yes.
But that's also, and I hate to tell everybody, but that was also a story that people made up to keep people out of the woods, to keep those things safe, and don't whistle back at them. They don't want people to know. The natives did their best to make people scared of what was in the forest, so they didn't come to any harm, because they knew how man was. So it's better for people to fear what's in the woods than it was to actually know what's out there, because it can't be protected if you know, or can it, to an extent. But so it's with the whistle, I haven't heard the whistle per se, but there's also, I guess I get weird vocalizations that I don't normally get with the clan of Sasquatch that are near me, and it's just different. And I just to hear the coyotes and the way that these things move through the field, because that's how I'm hearing them. There's a huge field across from where my boyfriend lives, and they have sheep, and they have like a big farm over there. And on down the road, there's cows, and I know what cows sound like at night. There's a bunch of bulls and stuff that beller through the night, and it's really weird. But then you can hear this thing moving from one end of the field to the other end of the field, and the coyotes will be on one end of the field, and it'll howl, and the coyotes will just, like I said, they'll just stop, and you won't hear them again all night, and they'll be on the other side of the field, and then you'll hear that thing on the side of the field where the coyotes were, and it's just like one giant howl. And it is, it's like when you're watching a movie and they talk about the hellhounds, or they talk about weird dogs or something, those weird like howls that they have, like you hear it in the middle of the moor in the middle of the night, kind of like the American Werewolf in London, like that howl that they did. It's kind of like that. I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh, good movie.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. Definitely good movie. Yeah.
What I experience is a coyote type howl, and it culminates in a turkey gobble sound. Now that's really strange to me, that the coyote and the turkey sound are combined.
I mean, dogs, wolves, coyotes especially can throw their voices like no other. Coyotes, 3 coyotes can sound like 12 coyotes. So if they have the ability to do that, there's no telling, what kind of other sounds a dogman would make. I mean,
JJ, I wonder too if that sounds kind of like, when the Sasquatch are mimicking the one here. It's like it goes like from an owl to a duck to a dog to just a grumble. And
just so much grunt.
Yeah, one fluid movement. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It just goes around and around.
Yes, most definitely. I've had recordings where they're grunting and snorting, the typical low pitched grunts and snorts and grumbles. And then all of a sudden, the most beautiful bird sounds, and it's like, what?
Wow.
Is that them? I have no way of knowing if it's them or not, but it seems to be alternating, and it's taking turns, and it's very intriguing.
I think now see, that makes me wonder, is it one communicating with, so is it a Sasquatch that communicating with something that's mimicking a bird? Because you've heard, and helped me out with some of my recordings where it was like a Sasquatch was communicating. It sounded like with a frog.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that frog sound is extremely common. And reading some accounts from Sasquatch experiencers, the frog sound is extremely common, especially in the South, I believe.
Yeah, you know why? It's because as soon as you move in the woods, the frogs will stop. And they need the frogs not to stop, because if something's around that area and the frogs all stop, everything can hear everything. So they encourage the frogs to start frogging again so they can get back to nature.
Oh, that
It's a
makes
nature
sense.
sound, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I live right beside a
Definitely.
creek. And I forget about the frogs, and I forget to tell people about that until you mention it. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. But they do that just to get the frogs to start croaking again. So they all start, oh, yeah, everything's fine. One frog said it's cool. So everybody back to business.
That's great.
That is great stuff right there by all of you. Every time I go outside and try to, mimic like those people did, the Moonshiners or the Ozark Howler, I don't know. It doesn't sound anything like that. And all I get is people throwing things at me outside of their windows and the rest of the neighborhood animals flipping out,
Cut it out, Kenny. Go to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
And put a shirt on, you punk.
Yeah. So I don't have
Man
the
is back.
Yeah.
I don't get the effect that they did, where everyone just goes quiet, and everyone runs away. No, it's like, shut up, like, wow.
Kenny's out again.
I just figured I'd get a chuckle at that. That's so excellent.
Yeah.
What does everyone think about? We'll start potentially West Coast, so meaning we'll start with
Yep.
Barb's encounter, then we will toss it over to Miss Sonya, and then of course JJ, and I'm up in Maine.
So I have a really weird one tonight, guys, and this is from December 29th of 1906. So this is an oldie but a goodie. It hails from Tumwater, Washington State, and that is about probably 40 miles. Well, no, actually not even that far. I'm thinking driving. No, it's southwest of where I'm at on the Puget Sound. This is in the middle of Tumwater is in the middle of this. Some people call it the Bigfoot, like this triangle here in Washington State, because they have this migration pattern, allegedly, that they start in this area coming up from Oregon, and then they go and they make this. They kind of branch out. One group goes west, the other group goes east, and right at that where they're branching out, this is where this Tumwater, Washington is. So, with that being said, though, this I don't know if this, what I'm going to read and I'll see what you all think. So, the 12-year-old daughter of this local farmer, his name was T.W. Egan. She was taken by a mysterious animal. And again, this is December 29th, 1906. Egan had left his daughter and his younger son home while he went to run some errands when this encounter occurred. The young girl went out to the shed to grab some potatoes to cook for her and her brother for dinner, when suddenly a bear man, B-E-A-R, bear man, in quotes, grabbed her and began carrying the girl away into the forest. And she's screaming, for help. Her little brother ran outside to see what's going on, and he sees her being carried away by an enormous, again, bear man, B-E-A-R man, carrying his sister away, while it's holding her with its arms, and it's running bipedally on two legs. So he's terrified, and the young boy ran for help. Shortly after a large search party arrived, I guess they were able to, utilize one pretty quick, only to find the young girl crying, covered in scratches. And when they asked how she escaped from the animal, the daughter, Egan's daughter, the farmer's daughter, said that she had been, the animal or the thing, the bearman had been carrying her for a while, And they later on, measured it out to be about 300 yards. And something then spooked whatever was carrying her, this creature, and it dropped her. And this animal, bear man, whatever, ran right into the forest, and she said just kind of vanished in the trees. So I don't know.
That's scary. What scared it?
It's terrifying.
I want to know.
For the little kids, definitely. But I don't know. Could be either one. It could be a Sasquatch, it could be a Dogman. Because the thing with if it looks like a bear, maybe it had ears. I don't know.
Bear Pig Man? And didn't South Park do a thing on that?
Yes. Yep. But I don't know. What do you think, JJ? Do you have any thoughts on that?
That sort of reminds me of those stories where children get lost in the forest and they say that some bear was looking out for them or sheltering them or protecting them. It made me wonder just what out there, which is bipedal, actually resembles a bear. That's kind of that's really an odd thought. Yes.
Some of the female Bigfoots are very soft featured. They're not as I wouldn't say ape-like or whatever, but they're more, especially the younger ones. They're teddy bear like. Some of them look like little Ewoks. I mean,
yes,
or not little Ewoks, but big Ewoks. Let me rephrase.
Yes. Right.
So
like giant features. Teddy bears.
Yeah, thank you. You know what I'm trying to say. So I would say a female Sasquatch, a younger one, especially juvenile, like a little older than a juvenile, would resemble a bear because again, they're softer featured, I think, than a lot of the males are. So and again, we've had that same with the bear story with were you talking about the little boy that happened in North Carolina, and it happened again in California, and both were almost the same story.
Yeah,
it was two almost identical stories. The one little boy was like 3 years old. His story didn't make too much sense though. This bear helped him, but his clothes had changed from what he had went missing in.
Yeah, I definitely think Sasquatch with that one, don't you? I mean, I don't know what else. There's no way a bear could have done what this little boy claimed.
Yeah, these definitely weren't bears.
No.
Oh yeah. That reminds me of when children fall into the gorilla pens at zoos, and sometimes there's a famous story with the video where the gorilla is looking out for the little boy and sheltering him. So, you never know. You never know how nature is going to respond.
Fox, what do you think about this one? What does it have, characteristics of that you're aware of?
Well, first off, excellent stuff by all of you, which is expected, of course, which is why y'all are part of the good old Midnight Society. Kudos to everyone. I'm just sitting here listening, drinking some good old V8 juice. I think all of y'all made some really proper observations. I do think Bearzilla, Bearman, has something probably most likely to do with Bigfoot per se more than the Dogman, even though we do have a category of something that's described to us as Bearman that we do look into. It also reminds me of the Dennis Martin case too, where the family said that they saw what could have been all of the above, maybe a Dogman, a Bigfoot, or a Bearman. They just said a large, hairy-looking bear thing. Pretty vague description,
Yeah, and I know that some Sasquatch, I've heard that some of them do have ears that protrude, more like a human's would. And then there was a report that this one that had ears that again protrude more like a human's, but maybe sticking out a little bit further, as some humans do too, right? It had it looked like it had like hair on top of its ears that were like into not twisted but like whatever. Yeah. And so that's what exactly. So it had these big long things which appeared to be ears, like these big long rabbit ears, but then that's what it was. Yeah. Or well, that's that's the allegation.
There's some old descriptions of Sasquatches, like in this area, like in North Carolina, like in the Appalachian Mountains, that were like that. That described them having almost like elf ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a big thing, or like if it was just speculation about like, are they different? Is that something else? Is that like, is it just a mutation? Did they needed to hear?
Right.
When typically thinking about ears, black bear had the typical rounded ears, like little round knobs, whereupon anything canine will have the more of a point occurring. So,
Yes.
that's a very interesting detail for people to report, though. Are these ears rounded or pointed?
I saw the Dogman I saw definitely had pointed ears, and the Sasquatches that are near my area, they don't. They don't have big ears. I don't think. I've never seen their ears. Not really like scaring. Like I'd be like, oh, that one's got some ears on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
With this, with Sonya, with the Dogman that you saw, was it? I mean, it was unmistakable to you that was a Dogman.
Yeah, again, he didn't have a tail, or I didn't see its tail, but it definitely like a male Dogman. I thought it was a werewolf for years until I learned about the Dogman. I didn't know Dogman existed. I knew Sasquatch has been around since I was little, but then you find out there's all these other things like the Wampus cat. Took me a couple of days of just sitting around thinking, what was that?
Yeah.
To even look online, to go, hey, I can look online because we have that technology now.
Right. There was a picture. This is a little bit off topic, but no, actually not. StarFox, remember that picture that you had sent to me? Was it yesterday or the day before? And I said, oh, we got to ask Sonya about that. That was that one, right? Because it looked like, I said, it looks like a little, like a feline.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you're talking about. Make sure to send those to her. And I have a bunch more that Richard has just sent to me. He is from Ohio, is very terrible with technology. I actually, long story short, had to walk him and his wife through how to transfer stuff from his portable audio recorder and video recorder, meaning he had to remove the chip and then put it into his tablet, which we got that figured out for him. From there, I had to walk him through to create an actual account where he could put it into an iCloud, basically what they call a secure folder. From there, I had to walk him through afterwards how to get it all now from the secure folder down to his tablet where he could send it all out to myself and Jeff Meldrum because he's got some Sasquatch stuff. So I'm glad you brought that up. I do have more things to send you.
I decided to take a look at those.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely just send me a reminder because, like I said, I do have another podcast after, but I'm going to be up pretty late watching some good old True Blood and editing. So definitely make sure to remind me. Sonya, you have an encounter you're going to read us, but definitely answer what Barb had just asked you first if you've seen that. And if not, then give your opinion once we do get it to you.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet, but when I do see it, I will definitely give you my opinion. I have an encounter from the Ohio River Valley in 1820. It was wintertime, and in Kentucky. Let's see. And there was a group of lumberjacks that were headed home when a pack of large wolves attacked the men. Trying to defend the animals off with their axes, the men failed. One of the lumberjacks is brutally torn apart by the wolves. In sheer panic, the other man climbed a tree and stayed up there until another group of lumberjacks stumbled upon the scene. After he told his story of how he and his friends were no match for the monster wolves, the men began searching the area for the missing lumberjacks, only to find a few bones, an axe, and they found a bunch of prints. And, that was about it. So, yeah, that's a pretty crazy story. And it's not the first one. And what's weird is like we did a podcast not too long ago about like hellhounds and things like that, or the big wolves or whatever. And they're some of the most sightings of the big black wolves that they saw, or that people had seen through the time, have been in that same area, like between Kentucky and in northern Ohio, or in like towards Pennsylvania, northern Ohio, Kentucky, that area. A lot of people have seen these big black wolves for years. So that's interesting. What do y'all think?
Right? Again, it's so creepy, which is another reason I thought it would be cool to have each one of us from our area or hence neck of the woods be able to chime in because we understand our locations. Obviously, doesn't mean we know everything about our locations. Yet I would hope you being down in Tennessee, JJ in Connecticut, Barb over on the West Coast would know more about that than myself up in Maine, which is great because that's how you get that prevalent knowledge out there. To Sonya and JJ, before we do get on to JJ's encounter, check your Facebooks. Those were the images that Barb was referring to that were sent in by Richard to us. Those are just some of the very few he sent in. I have to put his logo on a bunch of others, but
yeah, that's really cool. Like I'm looking at them right now. Like, yeah, because I can totally see the cat's face in that one. Like it's
See what I mean?
no,
Yeah. Right?
it's no, yeah, it definitely looks like a cat, and that's what she looked like. She had these big green, like she had big green eyes and big ears, and she like her face kind of looked like a lion's face. And
Yes,
these
that's what this looks like. But then the ears are very, unless it's an illusion. But doesn't that look like a Sasquatch is holding? I mean, I think that's a Sasquatch. Look at its hand.
Yeah, see, and that's what's weird. It almost looks like it shapeshifts almost, and I don't know.
Yeah, that could be because I see that in photo. I know what you're saying, and that's like the most bizarre thing to try to describe to somebody how these things sometime appear. It's like emotion. It's like as if you're looking at a live photo. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
you've taken. That's just briefly, and it's. If you haven't experienced it, it's like, yeah, right. Because I remember people telling me about this, and I'm like, yeah, right, okay, we'll see. And it definitely is what happens. Yeah, but you see it like in almost in like two views. But I saw the blue eyes when I was messing with the, so it might not be something's bright. It definitely has, the little thing has bright eyes, and I saw that lion face.
Yeah, and so when you mess with, and that's the thing about them, our cameras not being able to pick up like the vibrational energy that they're like putting off or something, and it distorts. I took those like not too long ago. I was standing outside and I took those pictures I was taking pictures of the moon through the trees because the forest looked really cool. It was really bright. I knew stuff had been out there, and so I was like, I want to take a picture of the woods because I have a pretty good night sight on my phone, and I was like, well, I know there's things out there. I should ask for permission first. And I was like, can I take your photo? So I just asked. I didn't like really think I got a response. So I just started taking a couple photos anyway. And my screen totally went blue. Like this blue haze came over my phone. My phone's never done that. It's never like it was unfocused immediately. And I didn't touch anything with focus. I just turned the camera down from taking pictures of the sky and taking pictures into the woods, and the camera, after I asked that question, my phone just went completely like had a blue phase to it, and it was so weird. I've never had that happen before, and I was like, oh. And I think I sent Barb the photos. I was like, these are the photos I took, and this is like, and then I asked that question, and then I took other photos. Yeah, and it was totally just, it was weird. It was just, it's weird how it distorted the pictures. It's I don't know. My phone's never done that before, and it still hasn't too.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I had a similar one, and I think I know that I posted these photos. I'm pretty sure on my Facebook page, or even I may have made a YouTube video. So same thing. I'm trying to take a picture of the moonlight is coming down on the water, but it's such a cloudy night that there's just like little, almost like pierces, of moonlight. Looks beautiful. I'm trying to take a picture of that on my iPhone in night mode. I mean, I do this all the time, and it wouldn't like stay on night mode. It kept going, like it would bright and then it would go dark. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So as this is happening, I keep taking, the sequence of photos, trying to make my phone stay in night mode. And what I got is a big bright ball that looks like a big bright white orb. Then the very next, and this was like within what does it take you to take like pictures in, like in sequence?
3 to 4 seconds you have to hold.
Yeah, seconds, and giving time for me to be like, oh wait, making sure that I'm trying to get it into night mode, So yeah, let's say 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So big white orb. The next thing is this 3 photos of what look like an eclipse, like the blood moon, sort of like, but tiny, but in the same spot where the orb was. Then the last photo is two like pinpoints of light that look just like eye shine.
I was gonna say that sounds like eye shine. Both of them do. The orange does too. Like, because
It's
they have
crazy.
different colors. They're all different colors, so you just never know. And when they do flash, sometimes the flash will be like an onset of orange and into white, or an onset of green or yellow into white. And it's just because it's so fast, and that's the way light looks to us a lot of the time. Anyway, you'll see the color and then you'll see the white. If that makes sense.
Yes. Wow. Good point. So are you saying that it's like one eye at a time is open, or you're saying it's the two and it's just the two eyes are open and it's creating like an illusion? Is that
It could be both. It could be either. It could be one or the other.
Yeah.
And that's because I've seen them do that. I've seen them do it where they just do the one eye, because it doesn't look like something, and you have to stand there and wonder if that's what you're seeing. And it's harder in the summertime when you have the lightning bugs, because we have a couple of the Sasquatches around where I live. They got like a yellow greenish color, but it's an off color. It's definitely not lightning bugs, but it would make you think that it was lightning bugs if you just saw like a light in the woods and you didn't want to think nothing else of it. You'd just be like, yep, that was a weird looking lightning bug, but that's what that was.
Definitely. I have seen that. Yep. I've seen that before. Unfortunately, we don't have lightning bugs out here. So, but I have seen that, and I thought, and I've thought also that it's Sasquatches like using one eye and then the other eye. So it does. If I didn't know what I was looking for, and I'm still not sure, but anyway.
Again, I go out in the woods, and I try not to watch a bunch of the shows. Not that I don't like listening to people's experiences, but I don't want to get out there and not have an open mind about what I'm seeing first. And I know that sounds so awful.
No, I totally understand 100%.
Yeah, so I try to and so I've had that same thing happen, and I've even took pictures where I've taken pictures of myself, and there would be lights like that behind me, but sometimes you can't tell if it's just a weird optical illusion, or if it's like you accidentally get a picture of them just shining, just eye shining or just moving. Sometimes I wonder if it's them moving and our cameras catch that weird energy that's off of it, almost like a spark or something.
Yeah, that could be true. I wanted to just comment on Sonya, getting back to your to that encounter. That's terrifying. Yeah. I mean, what do we think? Is this might not, I don't know. Doesn't even have to be cryptid related. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird too, because like I said, there's been so many reports of these big black wolves in that area, especially in olden times, which we don't know what kind of animals have been around. No, but it's in that same area of where they're seeing these things, and if you go back, I really wanted to start studying old logging records, because you wouldn't believe the stories that are in there, and a lot of the stories end up in places in the 50s. They made a lot of those scary stories by the fire books. And a lot of those logger stories and things like that, a lot of those stories got put into books like that. So there's a lot of stories that are out there from these logging records that people wrote books about from the campfire stories. So it's just similar things that you hear stories about, and it's big black dogs. And it didn't necessarily say it was like a man, he ran on two legs, because I feel like that would be something that you'd be like, hey, this one was on two legs when it come up the tree after me, because why couldn't he get up the tree? Right. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Wolf behavior, real wolf behavior.
Right. Straight up great stuff by everybody right there. And JJ, what are your thoughts on what the girls just said? Also, those images before you read your encounter, and then we will start to tie it up with my encounter after.
The images are really strange. When you see things that are like an optical Rorschach test, with the ink plots, and things that seem to morph and transform. That's a really strange phenomena. I know I've had that happen myself on paranormal investigations and other type excursions, and it's really hard to explain or pin down. The dangerous element of these canine creatures and finding or people going missing and finding body parts and all that. That's definitely the type of story that inspires you to stay in your living room and watch Netflix.
That's for sure.
Netflix and chill. You know, that's another thing you were talking about, the optical illusions too. It's like these like I see auras, and I can see auras in live photos and pictures too. And when you change the settings on some of these like resolutions to these cameras, it changes the aura too. So it's hard to distinguish what it is without seeing like a good original photo, without the colors and things like that, and the way photos take, especially like night vision or like not great vision, and so that kind of messes with it. So it's really hard for me to tell, because usually when I see a picture, I can immediately go nope or yep, and I know that's just my opinion, but I feel like I feel like I'm not wrong. I'm not
You're
always
qualified.
right.
I think you're qualified. I think you're qualified. Definitely.
Nobody proved me wrong yet.
I think you. I have a friend that can do that. Well, I think we all know Carrie Ann. She can same thing. I can't. I'm not. I'm not, and I can't see aura. I do now. JJ, that's so interesting that you said that it's with paranormal photography too. So it's kind of all the same element, right?
Yeah, like Kirlian. I think that's how you pronounce it, or Kirlian photography captures the colors around people. I knew Lorraine Warren, and she would, when she met people, she would first see their color. Everyone would be surrounded by a certain color.
Yeah, that's your aura. That's people's what they call their aura, or I like the color part, because aura can be so vague now.
Oh yeah.
That's cool though. Wow.
Okay, the state, Connecticut, 1800, Haining Hills, Meriden, Connecticut. Explorers and woodsmen to the area begin reporting seeing strange, enormous, bipedal, jet black, human-like dog creatures with glowing red eyes stalking them in the forest. These strange creatures supposedly let out terrifying screams and howls, almost seemingly trying to torment its prey. Oh yeah, I know about the Meriden, Connecticut sightings, and that's had a mystique going for centuries. And there's actually something they call the black dog of Meriden Mountain. And the black dog is actually like a normal looking Labrador retriever dog, but he has glowing red eyes on occasion. And it depends on how many times you see him. If you see him once, it's for good luck. If you see him twice, bad luck. If you see him 3 times, it's a omen. And that's why I don't hike Meriden Mountain. I hike all the trails in Connecticut, but I'm not all that anxious to be seeing this phantom dog that people report.
I don't blame you. Whoa, JJ, why do you think it's that area? Do you have any any thoughts on that? Why that area would be so dangerous, or attract such weird and it sounds like horrific kind of anomalies?
That's a very good question. There's extreme long history. If you're talking the paranormal and the supernatural, there's the extreme long history of Native Americans clashing with colonists. And there's a lot of warfare that occurred in the Connecticut River Valley. And, we have something we call lake compounds here. It's an amusement park. And it's named after a chief, Chief Compounds, who was not only cheated out of the land and sunk in the lake. And lake
by having a park named after him.
Yeah, Lake Compounds is
terrible.
Lake Compounds is not all that far from Meriden Mountain, and it's all the Connecticut River Valley. And there's a bloody history. There's also settler superstitions, etc. You kind of have to weed through those as well. It's got an extremely long history. But the paranormal style black dog apparitions, we know they go back to England, right, and Europe. So that's something that goes way back into history.
Well, when I did the research on the hellhounds and like they have another one in like Europe. It was called the black smut, and it's a big black dog. It's not like exactly a wolf, but it was a big black dog, and it would protect things where they're, I don't want to say protect or maybe guard off or ward off. Um, you know, they would say they would ward off places where there were portals or where the fairies lived or where there was certain supernatural things. These big black dogs protect those things. So if there's bad energy there and the land's cursed, that would make total sense that nobody should be able to enjoy it there.
Oh yeah, the idea of the big dog as a guardian. Yeah, most definitely. You see that in Dante's Inferno.
Yes.
Yep. And it makes
Great.
sense to people have to know what they fear, you know what I mean? It's like, and if it's a dog, if that's man's best friend turning on him, that's a whole metaphor in its own.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
there's the canine is very, very prominent in our human psyche, in our human superstition. And sometimes it's hard to weed out the actual sightings from people, painting out a good legend to tell over a campfire.
God for the dogs, or the Egyptian dog god, or the one that wears the dog mask. Sorry,
Oh,
Anubis.
Anubis. Is it
He
Anubis?
Anubis.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Anubis, and he was the god of destruction, the god of war, and the god of this and the god of that. And so that's another thing where the dog gets its representation of, bad things to come, and this omen and that omen, and how things are spread and how information is spread. So
Oh
from
yeah,
the very
yeah.
get-go,
We have Shakespeare, let loose the dogs of war.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And that's
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant stuff by everyone here. Well, as we are starting to tie this up, I do have a quick little encounter from Maine. I will dive out there before we let everyone get back to the things they need to attend to. I do need to venture out of the fox den and link up with a fellow traveler after as well. What does everyone think about this? It's 2007, same time frame that the good old Palmyra werewolves occurred with the Martin family. Yet it's has nothing to do with the Martin family. Same area, which is Madagascar Road, which connects to a very large portion up near Rangeley. It's an animal reserve. These friends and a couple were out camping. They like to explore a lot, so they're always out and about, and they had found this pretty remote area, which, like I said, they had no idea about the Martin encounter that occurred with that wolf pack that attacked the house. They end up setting up camp. As night unfolds, the girlfriend is woken up to strange sounds outside, which then causes her to wake up the men, who then laugh at her because they think she's just being childish. They all tell her to go back to bed. No, the chaos ensues. They all step outside. Well, they see the shadows of what looks to be these canine-like creatures, which fast forward, kind of resemble what the Martin family had reported. Rewind now, they freaked out, got in their car, drove off. Well, the next day or so, they ended up mustering up the courage to try to go back and get their camp gear. The whole entire site was destroyed. As we are tying this up, I just figured that would be pretty interesting to add a little bit more spice on the top of things. And starting with Barb, tossing it to Sonya, and then JJ, how do we all feel about that? Also, do you have any final thoughts for the evening?
Well, that I have so many questions, and yeah, because that. So the other thing is when you said so, there's an animal reserve, preserve.
Mhm.
Do you think that these creatures potentially got out, escaped from there, or were they not anything like that? Preserve had.
I would say most likely, meaning just being more predatory based and acting like animals. I think it was a great place to be isolated, not really have too much human traffic. You have a water source, you have plentiful game that is protected by our state and such, and it's maintained, no pollution, technically in theory. This really seems like a lot of these encounters occur around game reserves, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, that's really interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that because that just adds more evidence to the Palmyra case. That it could be. Is that what? Yeah, Palmyra. Yeah. But yeah, so that's good stuff that I want to gonna investigate more into that. What do you think, Sonia?
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know what's hiding in these woods. I mean, these things can stay hid. You never know. They could just be a small like patch of these big black dogs in the woods, and we just don't know because anytime anybody's seen one, there's like, oh, somebody's dog got loose. We're not, no, I mean, unless there's some girl trying to catch it and take it, to save it, like, um, nobody's really paying much attention. Like, everybody's doing their own thing these days, So if you see a big black dog and they're just there and nobody's really noticed unless they get attacked, I mean, it's not even short of possibility. So.
Yeah, some people don't. I don't know if they don't realize that there were. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, there were packs of feral dogs, and it wasn't like somebody just abandoned their dogs. They just were feral for a long time, and then they kept reproducing, and and then you got this sizable kind of population.
They're different than coyotes. Dogs, like, that's the thing about dogs. They're not scared of man. Coyotes are more skittish and scared of man, which is great.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would be getting attacked more often. But feral dogs are not scared of man, and they will come in and attack everybody. I mean, you won't even know what happened. It would just look like, you would assume that it would be coyotes, but their bite marks would be different. Also, I can send you pictures if I can find them. We've had black coyotes around here, and it's not beyond the possibility of a bunch of Siberian Huskies and things like that going out here and reproducing with the coyotes. We don't have small coyotes here. We have really decent sized coyotes. There is plenty for them.
Do.
Yeah, and people think they're strong. No, like, they're the size of a normal dog, and you're like, wow. The first time I ever seen one was road, and this is like up close. And when I got out to get it out of the road, it was as big as a German Shepherd. And I was
gonna say, yep.
Yeah, and people think they think they're these scrawny little, like, stragglers. I'm like, no. I've seen some big ones.
Yep.
And I've seen some black ones. So that's not also in the realm of possibility that it could. And also, we have mutt dogs like that breed with coyotes, and again,
coy dog.
Yeah, the coy dog, and they won't be scared of man either because they have the dog in them, but they also have that wild in them. I mean, nothing's out of the realm of possibilities, and those attacks seem more of something like that rather than a Dogman. Like, I feel like the footprints are different. I feel like there's a lot of different qualities when it comes to Dogman and when it comes to these big black dogs that people have been seeing it all over the place. So, yeah, something we'll have to look more into.
The coy dogs are an issue here in Connecticut too. I remember our local media a few decades ago were printing a lot of stories about the coy dogs forming packs. And unfortunately, as you were saying, the coy dogs are not as afraid of human beings as coyotes. So that could be a potential danger for people, something they have to watch out for.
Right? Excellent stuff. I appreciate all you beautiful people very much. Yet to the audience, they are very busy, and we would love to hold all of them hostage in the fox den all till the early sunrise. Yet that is not how friends work, eh? We will have everyone back here very soon. You can always check out the good old links. That will be down in the description, and keep up with what everyone is churning out. Until then, though, this will be the conclusion of the meeting of the Midnight Society for the early hours of the morning. Barb, Sonya, JJ, I appreciate you all greatly, and thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Ooh, you legends, you I do adore every single one of you. And thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the truth to the algorithm. We will catch you very soon.